Founders, Kirk Michie here. I want to talk to you for a minute about a transition services agreement, so otherwise known as a TSA, and I don't mean that TSA. So a transition services agreement doesn't happen in every single deal, but if there is an entity like part of your company or you or some of your people are going to continue to provide services as part of the old company in the transition to the entity that's buying your company, either the LLC, S Corp, or C Corp that the private equity firm set up as the acquisition company for your business, or you're selling to a strategic and there's some period after the closing where there's an expectation of, I don't know, maybe you keep your 3PLs or your manufacturing facilities or your warehouses operating while the buyer decides on whether they're going to shut them down or fold them in. There might be this thing called the transition services agreement, and it usually doesn't become too challenging or prickly. It's actually a nice thing in the sense that it allows you to be clearer about your post-closing role, because the transition services agreement might also just be a consulting agreement for you to be willing to pick up the phone when the new buyer calls and says, hey, what was the login code for GoDaddy? But it also might be tied to some money that comes towards an entity that continues to exist. But think of it just as this transition period, right? So it's a temporary thing. It's usually negotiated out of an abundance of caution and the need for legal clarity, but it could come up. And so now you're aware of it when it comes up. Not a controversial thing, but something to be aware of and something to be a little bit savvier about. All right, more to follow.